Hi, it's Theo and thank you for joining me. And today I want to go over the cards that are going to be rotating with the next expansion. Because Into the Emerald Dream is the first expansion of the year, it means the oldest three expansions will rotate. So it means Festival of Legends, Titans, and Showdown in the Badlands will rotate. On top, of course, the core set that I already covered in another video. So today I wanted to go over the most important cards that are going to be rotating. And we're gonna max it at 10 per class, so I'm not gonna be covering too many cards, but I think I will be covering the most important ones for every class that are gonna have a big impact on how to build the decks going forward, and also what you can discover, of course, because it's always important to know what you can discover and what not, or what secrets to play around. Anyway, let's get started with the first one, which is Death Knight. Which important cards are going to be leaving for Death Knight? First of all, we got the Death Growl. A lot of Death Rattle synergy is going to be rotating for Death Knight, so Infestor gets a lot worse. We've got Death Growl, but we also have the 4-mana card that procs the Death Rattle twice. That will go away. Another card to rotate is Runes of Darkness. No longer discovering a big weapon. It's also very useful in a lot of different decks, and this will be gone. Same with the Quartzite Crush, of course, one of those weapons you could discover. So weapon decks probably pretty happy about this card being rotated. Another big one, or not really played anymore right now, but the Mining Casualties is pretty big. That used to be like a staple in the early game, and you got 4 corpses. Then also rotating is the Excavate. All the Excavate stuff is rotating, but I will mention it here because for a while Excavate was pretty big in Death Knight, especially in combination with and the play cards. All the play cards are going away, so no more plagues. And also leaving is the Maw. Sad to see this one go away. Then for the late game, Death Knight is losing the Primus. Yes, all the Titans are leaving with the Titan expansion. So the big one here is the Primus. It's one of the best Titans, and it's going to be lost for most Death Knight decks. It was very flexible. Another late game card leaving is the Climactic Necrotic Explosion, the payoff card for Rainbow decks. And this really was a win con. Often for Rainbow Death Knight in the slower matchups could deal sometimes above 20 damage and get a huge board. So Rainbow will be missing this card. And last but not least, it will be losing a Rescat Pitball. It's like, this card got nerfed. It's still good. It's not as broken as it used to be, but this will be a loss for Death Knight, although probably win for everybody else, because your big minions won't get stolen anymore. And then we have the 10 cards that are leaving Demon Hunter, and to be honest, these 10 cards, they're not as strong as most other cards leaving from other classes, but Demon Hunter is still losing a bunch. First of all, we got the Through Felon Flames, which was very nice in the aggro deck. Just buff early, get extra damage in, or get some rush benefits. Then we have Burning Heart, could be really strong in like aggro decks, right? Just 1 mana and deal 2 damage and then get 3 attacks, so it's pretty good in aggro. Same with Taste of Chaos, just a nice card, cheap card to and kill a minion and probably discover a Felspell, aka Metamorphosis. Then Parched Desperado, another aggro card, which is really nice. Just, another cheap card that dealt 3 damage. It's also losing some weapons, Demon Hunter, with the Quick Pick, both for Demon Hunter and Rogue. And they both really used it pretty well. So it was some nice cheap card draw for Demon Hunter. Speaking of card draw, the Glaive is leaving. It only saw play in some decks. So we used to have like an Outcast Demon Hunter, which was pretty strong. Although lately it hasn't really seen much play, just in like fatigue decks. But there's still card of note that is going to be leaving. Maybe one of the best cards that is leaving is Going Down Swinging. An insanely strong board clear, especially with those cheap attack buffs that are leaving as well. Like it was so easy to clear boards and push the damage. So this is probably the biggest loss, I think, for Demon Hunter. Also, Halveria Darkraven is going away. Now, this only saw play for a little bit, but it was really strong in the Outcast Demon Hunter, where it made any board super scary. Then we have Momentum going away. And this was another just cheap attack buff that went face, and it's kind of what Demon Hunter wanted. And then the one late game card that's losing is Argus, the Emerald Star. It feels like one of those cards that should be really strong, but it just never quite fit well into Demon Hunter. And then we have Druid, and man, Druid has a lot of good cards leaving, so I had to leave out some good cards, but these I think are the most important ones that are leaving. First of all, the gifts should be leaving. So all the gifts for every class leaving, and especially I think it's big for Druid because it often liked that Wild Growth, the extra ramp, or sometimes the swipe against aggro. Also leaving are the attack damage buffs. So This one, the one that gives you extra armor on the hero power, the one that tutors this card. And the OTK deck enjoys will be sad at the Life Partner's Gift going away. This card cheated a ton of mana and really enabled a lot of OTKs. And a card that was played in a lot of slower Druid decks was the Frost Lotus Seedling, and yeah, pretty big loss. It's like double shield block for a 3 mana if it blossoms, and yeah, that was a really good card. And then the whole Dragon package basically is going away for Druid, so this one, the Desert Nest Mage Druid, Fi, all that stuff going away. So we might be getting a Dragon expansion, but yeah, these cards you won't be able to use anymore in Standard. Then also going away is the Trog Gem Tosser. Yeah, this could deal a ton of damage, up to 16 damage. So yeah, that was pretty scary to face. But with it going away, Druid will have a lot less burst damage. Another card leaving is the Summer Flower Child. This was quite nice, treating your late game with mana cheat on top of it. Then also leaving is Doomkin. I don't think anybody's sad about it, but yeah, Doomkin is going away, so no longer are your mana crystals getting taken. Then all the Highlander stuff is going away, so yeah, Druid is losing Rhea Astraza with it, and again, just like with the other classes, yeah, the Titans are going away, so ENR, huge card for Druid, is leaving. Then for Hunter, we've got Awakening Tremors leaving. Yeah, these worms were really nice in early game to pressure. And it was so strong it had to get nerfed. Another card that had to get nerfed is the Costume Singer. Being able to tutor a secret and then keep drawing if they couldn't clear it was really strong. Sneaky Snakes is also leaving. Just very nice early game for Hunter that synergized with all the buffs it could have. Such as the Observer of Myths, of course. That's a really strong synergy there. And then leaving, again, a nice card I love to see leaving is the Always a Bigger Jumbunger. Just yeah, it had to get nerfed, and it's still very toxic with the Hand Buff Hunter, so I'm glad this goes away. Also leaving is the Titan Forge Traps. Just all the Forge cards pretty much are leaving. So we'll probably have less secrets to play around. Also, Hidden Meaning is going away, so you can spend your mana now and not be afraid to get hit in your face by a minion. Then token decks are losing the Saddle Up. Yeah, also another card that had to get nerfed. And it's also really strong with how easy it was for Hunter to get those tokens. Aggro decks also losing the Mantle Shaper, which was a really strong card, because you could sometimes play those early as turn 2 when going second, with cards like a bunch of bananas. So sometimes you could have had a bananas opener with 2 Mantle Shapers on board turn 2. Of course, a Titan is also leaving for Hunter. Aggro bar really strong. And finally, all the big beast stuff is leaving, so that includes Stranglethorn Heart, it includes Hollowhound and Mukla, so yeah, no more big beast stuff until they print some more big beast cards, of course. For Mage, the biggest losses are basically the whole elemental package. I got Aqua Archivist here, but most of the elemental cards are going away, so yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing Elemental Mage anymore. Now also going away is the Infinitize, the Maxitude, no longer having infinite spells anymore. Void Scripture is also leaving, another card that generate a bunch of spells. Then we have Elemental Companion, probably the biggest loss for the spell mages. Although a lot of the cards are still staying in Standard. Yeah, this card was kind of needed to be able to do some crazy OTK combos. And speaking of OTKs, also Light Show is leaving, so no longer you can spam those Light Shows. And then we have Multi-Rune, a big loss for more burst-focused decks. Reverberations is going away, and yeah, this card was pretty hated. Surprised this never got nerfed. We're also losing Volume Up, some nice card roll for mages that is going away. And then we have all that rainbow stuff leaving as well. Here we're safe. We got Inquisitive Creation, we've got the Discovery Magic, all that stuff is going away. And lastly, we have Sunset Volley leaving, and yeah, this kind of makes Big Spell Mage not so good anymore, so that's why I wanted to mention this card as well. And then for Paladin, we've got quite a few important cards leaving. First of all, Hi-Ho Silverwing, I mean, extremely strong, just a good minion by itself. Almost a shielded mini bolt, and then tutors a card. We've got the Excavate stuff leaving. It's been a while since I've seen it, but it was big at some point. Then Musclotron is leaving. So Hand Buff Paladin probably going away, though maybe mostly because of another neutral card rotating, but yeah, this doesn't help. Then we've got Showdown leaving, and yeah, Showdown plus Prismatic Beam are pretty good. They both had to get nerfed by 1 mana, and at some points they were still top tier. Then the Highlander stuff is leaving. I really love playing Highlander Paladin, but even though lately it hasn't been very good, I'm still sad to see it go away. Then we have another nerf card here, Keeper Strength. Yeah, very strong board clear for Paladin. Horn of the Windlord, one of the best weapons we've seen. Just very good at either killing the opponent or just killing 2 big minions. Then the Titan, yeah, Amethyst, just a very strong card. And yeah, Paladin, sad to see it go. And finally, we've got Living Horizon. It might be 10 mana, but often it got played for 1 or 2 mana, making it quite strong. Then Priest will have to say goodbye to Devon, a nice cheap silence, especially lately against stuff like the Infestor. It's been nice. All the overheal stuff is going away, so yeah, no more funnel cakes, fan club, or Hadanas. Also, Priest is losing a lot of its value. Creation Protocol going away, Power Card Synchronize going away, so yeah, no longer copying that late game card a bunch of times. Is losing Love Everlasting, so bye bye mana cheat. Pith the Potent is going away, although yeah, without funnel cakes at 1 mana, it wasn't that good anymore anyway. The one big board clear it's losing is the Harmonic Pop. It's also losing Raden, so if you want to get a bunch of random stuff and resummon it, you can't do that anymore. And that biggest card leaving for Priest is obviously gonna be Amalthul, being played in the slowest Priest decks to the fastest. This card was crazy powerful, and yeah, it's gonna be a big loss for the Priest class. And lastly, we've got the Elise, which often summoned the Amalthul, but Highlander Priest is gone as well. And then Rogue is losing a lot of good cards. It was kind of hard to bring it down to 10 cards, but I think these were the most important ones. First of all, we've got the Breakdance. Yeah, we already see the Waggle Pick going back in the core set, so it's getting a second Shadow Step. But yeah, Breakdance, it will definitely feel the loss. Then we've got Devon as well, just like with Priest. We got Gear Shift, just cheap draw, sometimes even draw 3 for 1 mana. It was really powerful. We've got the Stick Up, which kind of fixed a lot of situations for Rogue where either they needed healing or they needed to clear a single minion. Then speaking of clearing, Tarslick was pretty amazing, especially with spell damage. It could clear pretty much any board for almost no mana. For the Discover fans among us, Kajamite Creation is a big loss. It was pretty flexible. I mean, just a 2 mana 3/2 with a nice upside. That was always pretty fun to play with. Also going away is a lot of the mech stuff, so including a pit stop because it was even played outside of mech decks, but yeah, pretty much all the mech stuff is leaving standard. And I already mentioned it, but Quick Pick is going away for Rogue as well. I think a bigger deal for Rogue almost because it also was included in Weapon Rogue and was very important there to keep it drawing. Then from Into the Badlands we got Velorok leaving. Yeah, this used to be a 3/6 and had to get nerfed, although it got buffed before that, but yeah, this was insanely powerful. Sometimes could carry games by itself. And lastly, we got really the kit, so the whole Excavate package leaving. It was dominating standard for a while, but even though lately it hasn't been as strong, I still yeah, wanted to put it on this list because how big of an impact it had when it was meta. Then we've got the Shaman cards, and Shaman has been pretty strong in the past year, but yeah, well, we'll get a little bit weaker with the cards is losing. First of all, we got the Thrall's Gift. This was, of course, a very flexible card. We saw it seeing play in OTK decks before they changed Lightning Bolt to Lightning Storm, in control decks because a Hex and Storm on demand is pretty nice, and even in aggro decks because Bloodlust with the flexibility to get either Hex or Storm was really strong. Another aggro card losing is the Cactus Cutter, although it could even be played in slower decks. Just as the good card, 2 mana, 2/2 tutor card with potential upside. I need a rock, just nice, cheap draw. Then we got Flash and Lightning. The whole nature package is leaving for Shaman, so I'm happy to see that go away. Then Turn the Tides, especially combat with Horde of the Windlord, is leaving, so it's a lot of burst gone for Shaman. Then we've got Backstage Bounce leaving. I think this was kind of an underrated card, but yeah, this could really win games on just turn 3 or 4 when you get this down early. It's really hard to clear for most decks, and I can push a lot of damage. Then for Shaman, the Highlander stuff is leaving. Yeah, Dog Holiday had to get nerfed first. Feel like if they buffed it now, I don't think it would see play anyway, but that's mostly because of the Reno nerfs. Then possibly the strongest Titan is leaving for Shaman, which is Gorganath. And yeah, this was incredible. It fit into any deck. Usually you only use one ability, but it was so strong that that is all it needed. And finally, we've got the Walking Mountain. So yeah, some slower decks, like Cliff Dive decks, are going to be losing this one, and that's a pretty big loss. And then we've got the Warlock, which is losing the Felstring Harp, which was just nice in a lot of slower decks, or just self-damage decks, because it was 1 mana heal 6, plus then, yeah, heal whatever damage basically you would have taken. So it was a pretty big heal for just 1 mana. Also losing is Fracking, just all the stuff that destroys in your deck is gone for Warlock. We've also got Elementum Geode, just kind of nice. 2 draws for 2 mana with the self-damage. Was kind of nice as well for decks like Painlock. And speaking of self-damage stuff, a lot of those things are leaving as well. Put Encroaching Insanity here, but all stuff with like Crescendo is going away. Then, like I mentioned before, you have Reverberations leaving. Fortune Wilson is leaving. Yeah, it's going to be sad for Location Warlock because, yeah, getting a huge minion with Rush twice was pretty good. Crazy to think this used to be 3 mana. Then the pop cards leaving in either Sludge Warlocks or just any Warlock deck, slow Warlock deck. This was nice. Oh, well, actually, it could even play the aggro decks because it had 8 burst. Then the Symphony is leaving. It's kind of sad. It was a really cool card. So no longer can you play any of these movements. Then we've got Loken leaving, which often summoned a 15-15 taunt. And yeah, it was pretty powerful, especially in combination with Fortune Wells. And finally, we got Sargeras leaving, the strongest late game Titan. And man, this card was powerful, could just win games single-handedly. And as the final class, we have the Warrior, and it's also losing the gift, and that was a pretty big deal. It was really nice to have a Brawl without having to play Brawl, so you could just play Shield Block otherwise, and then occasionally you use that Execute. Got Stone Skin Armor, just a very cheap card draw. We've got Aftershocks, had to get nerfed, but yeah, Aftershocks still strong. Just a nice 3-mana board clear that could also clear Death Rattles and a Reborn. And we've got the Craftsman's Hammer, just a very nice weapon, deal 9 damage, gain 9 armor, and synergized with some other armor cards. Sanitizer leaving, a very big board clear, and yeah, a lot of the cards had to get nerfed. Then Excavate Stuff is also leaving for Warrior. It had its time in the spotlight for a while, but yeah, now it's going away. Then we have Trial by Fire, another card that get nerfed. Yeah, a lot of these Warrior cards had to get nerfed. Also the other 3 cards, that's a lot of them getting nerfed. We've got Togren getting nerfed, although sometimes it could be a buff, but I think overall it was a nerf, so yeah, no longer will your cards get blown up, or until they print a new card like it. We've got Bran leaving, just the Highlander cards again, and Odin. This was a pretty big deal for a while. Just yeah, you could hit your opponent in the face for like 50 plus damage sometimes, and yeah, that's pretty powerful. And then lastly, we have all the neutral cards that are leaving standard, and yeah, I've put 20 here. There's a lot of them leaving, but I think these are the 20 most important ones. But please let me know if you disagree with this, of course. Let's start with the first one. We got Drone Deconstructor. This is played in the Mech decks, of course, but also outside of it, like Handbuff Paladin. Another Mech card was pretty big. Frequency Oscillator, which also got played basically outside of Mech decks because it could cheat cards like Zilliax out pretty early. Then one of the best 1-drops ever is the Miracle Salesman leaving. Yeah, pretty big deal for a lot of decks. A card that maybe isn't so strong, but yeah, I think a lot of people liked is the Audio Amplifier. Now we just have to use the Zera to go above 10 mana. Also, we're going to no longer be panning because Gold Panner is leaving, which was quite a common sight. Also a common sight was the Greedy Partner, especially in decks that could really use those coins. And as I already mentioned earlier with Handbuff Paladin, Instrument Attack is going away, so that's a pretty big loss for weapon decks that wanted to tutor those important weapons. Then late game decks are losing Fizzle. Although it recently got nerfed, of course, it still has been seeing play as a pretty powerful late game card, but that will be gone when the next expansion launches. OTK decks will be losing cover artists like a Protoss Rogue, or just any Rogue deck was abusing this, and even some Druid decks. Also, fan favorite ETC is going away. It's not staying in the core set, so yeah, you no longer can put the 3 tech cards inside of this one, but you actually have to hard run it, which you probably don't want to be doing. Then the Ignis, it's actually been a while since I've really seen this card play, but it was incredibly powerful with getting those huge weapons, especially. From Festival of Legends, Pozic is leaving. I feel like if we had the rotation, this card might actually come back if it didn't rotate, because yeah, I think it was pretty powerful. I'm kind of surprised actually it hasn't seen play recently. It had to get nerfed at some point, because yeah, getting those 3/3 bots in hand was really annoying. And speaking of annoying, we got the Speaker Stomper, which yeah, just denied you playing spells. Mostly, we'll still have called Neophyte in the core set, but yeah, the big one is going away. Minion decks will be losing Magatha, Bane of Music. Yeah, the minion only decks could really use this very well, or maybe a few spells in there like Zarimi Priest, just yeah, potentially drawing 5 cards for 5 mana was incredibly strong. And since the 10th anniversary is over, we should be losing Hearthstone Brew as well. It's all play for a little bit. I think it's worth mentioning here. Then let's get to the late game cards. First of all, with Prison of Yogg-Saron leaving. I got another card that saw a lot of play at some point, but lately hasn't seen any play, but still I think important to mention will be going away. Then I've got 2 cards that yeah, you might not see a lot of play, but I think it's good to mention in case you ever go for random stuff, to know that these cards are no longer in standard. First of all, we got the 1 Amalgam Band. So yeah, any discover for like a Beast, Dragon, Murloc could get this one. So yeah, this one is gone. And same with like random 8-drops maybe. Yeah, there's no longer Kologarn, so you can't evolve into this one anymore. And then 2 of the most played cards of the last year are also going away in Reno Lone Ranger. Of course, this had to get nerfed a bunch of times. But yeah, all the Highlander stuff, again, is going away. So that includes Reno Lone Ranger. And every slow deck was playing this at some point. The Yorks Run Unleashed to either just board clear, steal the Zilliax, or yeah, get random tentacles that lost you the game. So these are the most important cards leaving standard. Please let me know in the comments down below which one you are most sad to see go away. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time.